I once worked with a guy in Springfield, Massachusetts. This is for a school for really tough kids that couldn't cut it through. They just couldn't handle them in daytime classes. So we'd have a twilight school. These are emotionally challenged kids. But I mean, the most insolent, just shockingly, I mean, almost assaultive. And he never had any trouble with his kids because he was an ex-Marine. I didn't meet him at first because he was off in Iraq and he came back. And so we having discussions, and me being a total coward, and during Vietnam I was 350 pounds, so I was a 1Y, didn't have to serve in Vietnam, so and it's a good thing because I would have died 2 seconds out of the helicopter, just a complete coward. So I'm asking him, if you're really in trouble, what do you do? What's the move? And he said, throat. You go for the throat. So the reason I bring this up is in the Hormuz. Here we have, a weaker power that goes for the jugular, and the jugular is all the oil that's flowing out of there. So it's a choke point. Similarly, compared to how China has a chokehold on rare earths, and then Taiwan comes up, and here's Taiwan, which is 90% of the chips, and China's saying, well, we want to control that too, and of course. Trump goes over there and says, yes, sir, please, can I, how can I kiss your hand? And, you're really a nice guy. All the stuff I said about you raping America, sorry. My thought is this. We go to, this is back to Hormuz. Hormuz, here's how we have a ceasefire. Iran gives up the uranium and promises never to do any uranium, forget the uranium production. In exchange, we're going to have a mutual security cordon around Hormuz, where the Iranians and the Americans will actually cooperate, enough so that we're going to have a U.S. aircraft carrier in Hormuz, and we're going to trust that Iran is not going to attack that because we're in partnership. We want Iran, he wants to collect $2,000, fine. But we have the rights to board any vessel and check it. It's by our authority, and all traffic is going to flow now. Iran, all traffic flows. You're not going to stop any of the other oil states in the Gulf, because we're going to guarantee it by our presence and your goodwill to let all oil flows. It's going to be free. It's going to be the free market. Well, where do we get the free market idea? Post-World War II. Where in history, Mr. Xi Jinping, where in history has it that the conquering power gives money to its defeated, Germany and Japan and Italy, our enemies, horrific enemies, we're going to give them money to do business with us, and the dollar is going to carry out the business and so forth. So we're beating up on the dollar. Oh, it's really terrible. We want to dump the dollar. Here's China. Whoa, we're just terrific growth in the past 20 years. Where'd the growth come from? The growth came from doing business the American way, not the communist way, the American way. Never mind the capitalist, American way. And by the way, your best customer was the United States of America. So all this advance and, we're going to rule the world and stuff like that, we paid for it here in the United States. That's our money over there, and Europe and the rest of the world, and the American post-World War II system, which some politicians don't necessarily appreciate. And we allowed the Japanese to a better car, cheaper car. You can tell, all right, take over a fifth of our economy, the American automobile industry. We're turning out crappy cars. We sobered up. It's the capitalist way. You come up with a better product that's cheaper, it's going to win. Hey, we supported that. We could have shut out the Japanese cars. No. Now Japanese cars are a key part of America, and they're building factories in here and so forth, and so we're working it out. Okay, stupid, sloppy trade deals. We screw up our own working class. Why? Because the competitive working class is elsewhere. Why? Because they're starving to death. Because they're communists and they're starving to death. Because Mao comes up with famine. That's his idea. Russia, famine. Your people die by the millions because you're so stupid with your communist system. We've got a capitalist system. We got sins. But we have an open society. We talk about our sins. We try to look, and we have a free speech So we talk about things like race that is disgraceful, and we still have a problem with it, and we're still struggling about it. You know, Mr. Xi Jinping, you might think about ethnic purity and exclusivity and how, one race gets to rule everybody by genetic continuity and determinism. It's the genetics. It's going to take the history of the world. No, we got a mix over here. No. Well, the guy, Apple Computers, kid is an adopted kid from a Syrian father. Okay? We got Jewish people over here. We won the war because we got Jewish people. Why? Because we are tolerant. You understand, Mr. Xi Jinping? So, before you get the thing that you're going to rule the world, I tell you what, let's have a cooperative security cordon around Taiwan because we want to protect computers and rare earths and stuff. We're going to make that a free market. Nobody's going to have a chokehold like Hormuz on our chips anymore, especially American-educated Chinese geniuses that work in we're going to do AI. Where'd you learn the AI? Huh? Where'd you learn the AI? Okay, so we're going to share that in the spirit of post-World War II. We're going to do business, and we're going to flourish, and we're not going to have a war because we're going to share it. But we want to be secure. We don't know. There are third parties out there that might not be nations. Yeah, we've got U.S. battleships around Taiwan in a security cordon, but all right, Chinese, fine. It's going to be you and me. That's great. You and me, Xi Jinping, that's great, the United States. And by the way, let's not exclude India and Europe and the rest of the world and the South America and all the other, Brazil and so forth, these evolving culture. Let's make sure we spread it around a little bit. And by the way, labor. Labor was slave labor. That's why our labor over here and the rest of the world in Europe and the rest of the world, we're all suffering. Why? Because you can make it cheaper. Why? Because you're using slaves. You're using slaves, and you don't give them freedom, and you shut them up, and they say 2 peeps in Tiananmen Square, and you shoot them to death. So here's the deal. We're going to share this, Mr. Xi Jinping, but you're going to play nice. You're going to play nice by the American rules.